If I mention growing to 7 figures, what comes to mind? Probably getting more clients or building a bigger team. And I used to think that too, and that is part of it. But when your entire focus is more revenue, this leads to burnout, losing clients, poor work, and worst of all, reaching this glass ceiling. The question I should have been asking about is how we can create and deliver high quality content at a much higher volume. There's no secret from the thumbnail that the tool we use for this is Notion. But the real secret isn't the tool, it's how you use it and implement it in your agency. I will go so far as to say that without a tool like this, you will never be able to reach 6-figure months, and I will tell you why. In this video, I want to share why Notion has played such a significant role for my agency, what we use it for, and lastly, how you should implement it into your agency to grow. If you're new to my channel, my name is David. I'm building my dream real estate media agency and helping others do the same. I run a 15-person real estate media agency. If you'd like to connect, follow me on Instagram and send me a message. If you want to learn more about coaching, please check out the video in the link in the description. After a year and a half of running my agency, things were humming along. We had about 2.5 people on the team as photographers, and I was focused on continuing to grow as fast as possible. I didn't have much documentation on how things got done. I was always in contact with my team, and they would ask me whenever they had questions, and I didn't want to slow down and document anything, and I kind of liked being the guy who called all the shots and answered all the questions. And that actually worked all right until the next spring. Things were growing quickly. We now had 3 photographers plus myself, and I was starting to see we were going to need to hire another photographer soon and bring an administrator on. In my mind, I thought this will be an easy onboarding process. I'll write a few things down, but they'll probably be proactive to figure it out themselves because that's what I did. And that wasn't the case. And it wasn't my team's fault. I hadn't given them the direction as the agency owner on how I wanted them to get things done. This was probably the most challenging season in my agency. I was trying to train people, shoot properties during the day, answer this ever increasing amount of questions, continue to grow, and I just had no time to actually get out of this mess that I had created. I didn't realize the goal wasn't to control everything and be the guy with answers. It was to try to empower my team to do their jobs at a high standard without me. And I had to document how to do things. I needed to create and make easily accessible the information about what I wanted someone to do and how to do it. This was simple, but not easy. SOPs, or standard operating procedures, are the foundation of our agency. A clear, repeatable process for how something gets created will take you from a group of freelancers to an agency with a team of creatives. One of Notion's core functions for our agency is documentation and organization of all of our SOPs. And this is light years ahead of the Google Doc that we used to be working out of as our SOP. I've learned SOPs are for everything big and small because it all needs to be documented. Whenever you start to recognize a question being repeated, make an SOP about it, fix the problem right then and there. Because now you'll start to get your time back and be able to handle more important things. About a year ago, I put some serious effort into building some new SOPs, improving others, and making sure things were running well at our agency. And they were. Our photographers had their roles, our client success manager had her role, our VA and video editors had their roles, and we had SOPs to get the tasks done. And I did everything else. And this was smooth sailing until it was time to go after some new things and I had to start handing off some tasks. I feel like I'd done a pretty good job of detailing out and training people on their specific tasks, but some of the things I was now trying to hand off were just different. These tasks had multiple people or steps involved. They required collaboration, and this was a new challenge, something I hadn't really faced yet. I realized it was pretty straightforward to manage a higher volume of tasks when each person had a very clear task and defined role, and there wasn't a lot of collaboration. But this was different. Now, the how do I do this wasn't the question. It was, what's our process for this? Handling listings felt like level 1, book your order, take your photos, edit your photos, deliver your photos. Simple enough. But this just felt like level 2 and something different. Some of these things felt more complicated and there was just no established process. How do we handle special shoots for a builder or developer? How do we handle event photography? How do we handle social media content requests? How do we handle our retainer packages? These were all things we had started offering that I was in charge of. Also, these were things that didn't have much definition around them. And as the owner, it was easy enough to call the shots on a case-by-case basis and make up the answers, but that doesn't work for a team, especially when you're trying to hand things off. For the most part, I could remember this task or that task, but eventually I started to miss things. Things started to slip, and we needed a process because the process that I had wasn't even working for me. And so there was no chance it was actually going to work once I handed this responsibility off to someone else. I needed a solution first. Building Notion to handle process management has also been a level 2 challenge in and of itself, but it has been so worth it. We now have systems that keep track of certain photo edits, video edits, real estate agent, team, and agency branding items. We have systems to manage marketing and retainer work, systems to manage objectives for our company. We track our weekly trainings, we track recurring tasks, and many other things. In addition to our SOPs, we've started creating specific workflows to show our process and who does what when, and connect the SOPs, and this just connects all the dots. We have different ways to view projects and tasks so that everyone can see the tasks that they need to get done. If you want to think about a big business, you need to think how to handle a big volume of work. You need a system to track everything. Otherwise, it feels like you're just dumping out a big box of marbles on the table. It's just unmanageable. I was introduced to Notion long before I actually started using it. And at that point, we were using and still had this Google Doc disaster SOP. Why did I need Notion? We were getting by all right as it was. We were growing quickly. But it was around this time I got a glimpse of how other agencies were using software like Monday and Notion to run their business, and it blew my mind. It genuinely opened my eyes to a whole new way that our agency could be run. I knew I needed to change some things because I could see my agency wouldn't be able to operate at that higher level until we had something like this in place. Here's the thing, at this point you might be thinking, I'm gonna pitch you on your dream Notion package that will solve all your SOP and process problems. That would just be too easy, and I'll burst your bubble right now because that doesn't exist. I don't think that exists, and actually it's incredibly challenging to implement something like this into your business. Why? Because it needs to be set up and built for your agency and your business. And you need to be able to get your team to use it. Adapting or adopting of a new software can take a long time to ingrain it into your agency. This can be harder than you think. So what's the point? First, let me tell you why I like Notion so much. You can't have customizable and easy out of the box. I just don't think they go together, at least not yet. AI is changing everything. Notion is super customizable, and there's also a learning curve to using Notion as well. But if it was easy, everyone would do it. This isn't to say there aren't some templates and building blocks to borrow from, and there are some great AI tools inside of Notion. But you know what should also be customizable? Your agency. Here's my point. I'm here to build my dream agency, and I want to help you do the same with yours. Your agency shouldn't fit inside a box prescribed by someone else. You should build your own box. Build your dream box, your dream agency. But in order to do that, you need something that can grow with you and grow as your agency grows. This is where Notion has made all of the difference for us. You need an agile piece of software to fit your agile agency. A template will never work because your agency should never stop growing, changing, or adapting. And it shouldn't look like anyone else's. If you look at our agency's Notion, there's a whole bunch of things that are in progress or being built or being updated. And your operation system needs to evolve with you. And most importantly, support and enable your growth. It can only do this for you if you build it for your agency or hire a contractor to help. This is really what matters here. Now, I did just finish building, for lack of a better term, a template in Notion for the agency owners that I'm working with. But these are more a group of building blocks. And I've made it very clear to those that I'm working with, this is not plug and play. I've made it as close as I possibly can, but every agency operates differently. They have a different team, they have different processes, and that's exactly how it should be. The coolest thing for me is that we've been able to break down our work into different tasks, processes, and create roles around these things. We can now plug in team members or bring on new team members for specific things. And this allows us to put people into roles who can do things far better than I can. It's almost like creating a super team. And I promise there is no better feeling as an agency owner than having your team and your work exceed your personal capabilities. This would not be possible without something like Notion in our agency. If you get nothing else out of this video, I hope that I've been able to reframe the role that a tool like Notion should play in your agency, similar to the eye-opening experience that I had years ago. Start implementing it piece by piece, but never stop building it to support your dream agency.